Canada's digital services tax would have kicked in today. It would have forced some big American tech companies to pay billions of dollars in taxes based on their revenue in Canada. But it was rescinded yesterday after outcry from the American president. Let's talk about this with Sergio Marchi. He's a former Canadian ambassador to the World Trade Organization. Thanks for joining us today.
It's a pleasure, Marilla. Thank you for having me.
Was this, in your mind, the right thing to do, or do you see this as a mistake?
I think this is a strategic mistake for three reasons. One, we can't afford to jump every time Donald Trump twitches, because he twitches a lot, which means we'll be jumping forever. Secondly, in trade negotiations, you never give up anything specific unless you get something specific in return. And we haven't unless there's something behind the scene. And thirdly, you should never agree to negotiate under threat, which is a common tactic of Trump, who's basically a bully. So I think it was an error giving this up. I would have rolled this tax into the negotiations and used it as leverage to our advantage.
As you know, Donald Trump likes to get a win. He likes to get a win. He likes to make sure it's public. With a big win for him out of the way, do you think it can lead to a better deal for Canada?
You just don't know, Marilla, because he's such an unpredictable, undisciplined person to start with. So that's why I said we gave something up for free. All we have is a continuation of the talks, but that's no guarantee of anything. I mean, Trump can be just tough as nails in the negotiations or ask us for more things. So we'd be giving as opposed to also taking. So I think it was too risky to play it off on a one-off basis. I think the other sectors which have been hit by tariffs are important, but I would have let go of this tax in the middle of the negotiations and not as a condition to them.
Why do you think the digital services tax in particular was such an irritant for Trump? We know other nations have already applied a similar tax.
Yeah, there's a number of European countries who have a similar structure, and they haven't been hit the way we have. So I think he may think we're softer than others, and so he picks on us. And secondly, I think he's close to a lot of these big tech companies. You know, if you remember when he got inaugurated, they were all lined up behind him. They had contributed mightily to his campaign. So I think he's just trying to help friends, but also American firms. If he can get away with the firms not paying a tax, then those firms, for the way Trump deals with life, they owe Trump, and they're in his debt. So I think he got an easy win.
For Ottawa, it means billions of dollars in revenue lost at a time when we do plan to increase, for example, defense spending. There will be a lot of build out of infrastructure across the country, according to the Prime Minister. So where do we make up that loss? Do you worry about all of the revenue Canada has now said goodbye to?
Well, there was revenue, obviously, and it was also retroactive for 2 years. So as of today, we were supposed to get something in the order of $2 billion. What is more important to that is obviously the auto sector, which has been under constant threat by Trump, our steel and aluminum. I would not have held on to the tax and let those other sectors go, obviously, but I would have rolled this tax into the negotiations. And you could have, for example, say, look, if you give me A, B, C, I'll get rid of this tax. Or if you give me D, E, and F, I can take away the backdating of 2 years. So you could have played it in different ways and let go of this digital tax at the appropriate time, which is good for us. But it's not good for us if we give this away for nothing, as we did. And I think it makes us weaker in Donald Trump's eyes going forward. In other words, I think this softness can cost us in the future. I think we would have been better to hang tough and be respected if that would have been possible under Trump.
Do you think then dairy, lumber, steel, for example, are still at risk?
Absolutely. This man has got a big appetite, and he's talked about the supply management for many different times. He mentioned it just the other day in the context of his threat for us to drop this digital tax. And that's why you always give something up when you get something in specific terms. If he doesn't give you anything specific to bring to the bank, so to speak, then you shouldn't give it up in the first place.